Dear students, today we are going to do a lesson from class 12 English textbook Vistas, and the name of the lesson is The Tiger King, written by Kalki. This is a story which is a satire on the conceit of those who are in power. What is satire? Mockery, hasya vyangya. And what is conceit? Vanity, pride or ego, or in Hindi, guman. This story is a mockery on the vanity of those who are in power, on the mockery of the vanity of a king who has a very strange wish. Now, the theme of the story is men with power must have values of dedicated work, selflessness and courage, and no one can escape death. This is the second theme. Now, in the story, the author condemns, criticizes tiger hunting. Tiger is a tiger is an endangered species, and we should protect it and save it. But in this story, this tiger king has decided to kill 100 tigers. So, this is ironical. So, the author criticizes the king's strange wish by using various literary techniques in the story. He uses irony, he uses humor, he uses satire. Irony is a literary technique in which if something is said, the meaning is opposite. Or if something happens, it is something that happens is against our expectations. So we can say ironical situation, or if the words are opposite in meaning, we can say it is an irony. Humor is laughter. The author makes us laugh at various places in the story. Satire is a mockery of the idea or the vanity or the strange wish of the king. Now, the story is of the times of British rule, and Maharaja of Pratibandhapuram is the hero of this story. Pratibandhapuram, a state in India, and it is of British times. The story talks about that, and this king is called as the Tiger King in the story. And in those times, the kings were autocratic, that is, they had supreme power, eccentric, they had strange wishes and fancies. Now, the story goes like this. Before the story, the author says that anybody who hears this story would like to meet this king, but let me tell you in advance that this king is no more. He is dead. The manner in which he died was of an extraordinary interest. He said that it was a very extraordinary manner in which he died, and it was very interesting. So now let us see what happens in the story. When this king was born, and he was very small, he was just 10 days old, a very strange incident happened, that is, a miracle took place. The great astrologers, they made predictions about this child prince's future. They said that he would be a great warrior, he would be a warrior of warriors, hero of heroes, champion of champions, but one day he would die. That very moment, a very shocking incident happened. Everybody was surprised, everybody was shocked, because this 10-day-old child, he spoke in his thin, squeaky voice. Oh, wise prophets, everyone knows whoever has taken birth will die one day. It would be wise, it would have some sense if you could tell the cause of his death, the cause of the death. So, the astrologer said that the cause of the death of this prince, this child, would be a tiger, because he was born in the hour of a bull, and the bull and the tiger are enemies. So the tiger would be a cause of his death. At this, everybody thought that this child would be scared to hear the name of the tiger, but rather than being scared, this child threw a challenge to the tigers. He said, "Let tigers beware." And after that, it was over. Now, the king was brought up now, he was growing taller and stronger day by day. He was brought up in a typical English style because it was a British rule, and all the kings had their princes and princesses brought up in the English style. So this child prince was also brought up in an English style. He was cared by, looked after by an English nanny. He was tutored by the English teachers. He read English books. He saw English films, and he was given the milk of an English cow. So everything typical English manner. He was brought up in the English manner. We can also say that this was an example of irony. He was an Indian prince and being brought up in an English style. So now when he became 20 years old, his coronation took place. That is, he was made the king. And now this state, which was under the care of the coat of wards, now was under the care of the king. Now this king, he knew about, the people were talking about the miracle that took place at the time of his death and the prediction that the astrologers had made, and slowly this reached the king's ears also, because everybody in Pratibandhapuram knew about it. So when the king came to know about it, he now decided to first kill 100 tigers, because 100th tiger would be the cause of his death. So he postponed all the state matters, and he said that he would only look after the kingdom after killing 100 tigers, that is, after he would become immortal. So there were a lot of tigers in the forest of Pratibandhapuram. So he went to the forest and hunted one tiger, brought the red tiger and called the chief astrologer. He said, "See, I have killed the tiger." But the chief astrologer, he said, "Your Majesty," he said to the king, "Your Majesty, you can kill 99 tigers like that, but you have to be careful with the 100th tiger." Now the king decided to kill 100 tigers. Right? So he started killing tigers after tigers. But one day, first of all, what he did was that he banned tiger hunting in the state. It was a celebration time for tigers, the author says. It is ironical. Why the tigers had a celebration time? Because the king had announced that nobody would kill any tiger in the kingdom. Tiger hunting was banned. But the irony is that only the king would kill the tigers. So he ordered that even if somebody threw a stone towards a tiger, his whole property would be confiscated. Now, after this, the king started killing tigers, and one day a British official visited Pratibandhapuram. He sent his messenger to the king with the request that he wanted to kill a tiger in his kingdom, in his state. But the king did not give permission, because all tigers only he had to kill. So he refused. He said that he could arrange for a boar hunt or a mosquito hunt or a mouse hunt for the British lord, but he would not allow a tiger hunt in the kingdom. And then the British lord sent his messenger with another message that he wanted to have a photograph clicked with the dead tiger with a gun in his hand. The king did not allow even that, because he feared that if he would allow one, many more British officials would come for the same. So he refused. Now after that, now the king was worried, because his kingdom was in danger. He was in danger of losing his kingdom because it would be taken away by this British. So he thought to please the British lord in a different manner. He discussed the things with his minister, the Diwan, and he sent a telegram to a famous British company of jewelers in Calcutta, and he ordered for 50 diamond rings. Those 50 diamond rings came. The king sent all those 50 diamond rings to the British official's wife, thinking that he would gift some rings to her. She would keep one or two and send the rest. But what did this British officer's wife do? She kept all the diamond rings, all 50 diamond rings, and sent a thank you note to the king. The king had to pay a bill of 3 lakhs of rupees, but he was happy that his kingdom was saved. So in this manner, the king saved his kingdom. The Maharaja's tiger hunts continued to be highly successful. Not that the king did not face any danger. Many times the bullet missed its aim, and many times the tiger jumped over him, or many times he had to fight with the tiger with bare hands. But every time it was the Maharaja who won. So he was a brave king. Then he says he killed 70 tigers. The king had killed 70 tigers in 10 years. Now no tigers were left in his kingdom. The author says perhaps the tigers practiced birth control, or they had committed suicide, or they had shifted from there to the other lands to be killed by the British hands. Anyway, he just tries to make the reader laugh by saying this. Now the king called his Diwan. He said, Diwan Sahib, and he brandished his gun. He said, Diwan Sahib, don't you know 30 more tigers are left to be killed? The Diwan got scared. No sir, I am not a tiger. He said, which idiot would call you a tiger? He said, I am not a gun. He said, you are neither a tiger nor a gun. What I want to tell you is that I want to express my desire. I want to marry. At this the Diwan said, no sir, I am already married, I have 2 wives. He said, which stupid would like to who wants to marry you? I am just telling you that I want a tiger. He said, sir, a tiger king is more than enough. The state does not need a tiger queen. He gave a loud crack of laughter and he said, I mean to tell you that I want to marry. Go and find out if there is a state with a large number of tigers, with a large tiger population, and if there is a girl in the royal family to be married, I will marry that girl. So the Diwan, he found out a kingdom, a state where there was a large tiger population and there was a princess who was to be married. So the king married that princess. Now here the purpose of his marriage was only to kill more tigers. So what he did was, every time he went to his in-laws, he killed 5-6 tigers. So like that the king killed 29 more tigers. Now 99 tigers were killed, only 1 was left, but nowhere any tiger was available. So the king killed 99 tigers, 1 was left to complete the count of 100 and no more tigers left. The king got angry and many officers lost their jobs. The Diwan was full of fear. He was in the fear of losing his job, and the king told him that he wanted a tiger. And then suddenly he got a news that in the nearby village, the sheep were missing, one after the other. The people saw that their sheep were missing and perhaps there must be a tiger. So the king got this good news and he exempted the villagers from taxes for 3 years. But then for many days he waited, no more tiger. Then the king got so angry that he doubled the land taxes. At this the Diwan said that the people would be restless and they would not be in comfort. The Diwan said that the people would be discontented. At this the king told the Diwan that he could resign. Now the Diwan had no option left. So he arranged for a tiger from People's Park, Madras. It was an old and a sick tiger, and the king in the night along with his wife pushed this tiger into the car. Just imagine a king, the Diwan pushing the tiger into the car, and then the Diwan drove the car himself, brought the tiger to the forest, and there he opened the car gate for the tiger to come out. But the tiger launched its satyagraha. It did not come out. It refused to come out. So the Diwan had to make a lot of effort to pull this tiger out of the car and leave it in the forest. Now when he left it in the forest, the tiger was wandering in the forest, and it reached the place where the king was and just stood in front of the king as if in request, "Your Majesty, I am here." So the king shot at this tiger and the tiger fell flat. The king was full of joy. He was highly delighted that he had killed the 100th tiger. So he ordered his men that they could bring this tiger to the capital in a large procession. But when the king's men, when the hunters went near this tiger, the tiger opened its eyes and it looked at them with its rolling eyes. Now they saw that the tiger was not dead. But they were scared. Who would tell the king? So one of the hunters went close to the tiger and killed it, shot at it, and now this tiger was dead. So they brought this tiger to the capital, they brought it to the state, and a large procession was taken out, and then this tiger was buried and a tomb was erected over it. The king was satisfied that he had killed the 100th tiger, whereas the king's men knew that the king had not been able to kill the 100th tiger. But the king now became relaxed, and now it was the king's son's 3rd birthday. Just imagine, he had not celebrated his son's birthday for 3 years because his mission was only to kill 100 tigers first. So now it was his son's 3rd birthday and he wanted to celebrate it. So he went to the market and he went from shop to shop and he wanted to buy a gift for his son. Finally he came across a wooden tiger, a toy tiger in a shop, and he wanted to give this to his son as a gift. So it was a very low cost toy, and the shopkeeper was afraid of telling the king the low cost of this toy tiger, and he said it was for 300 rupees. Although it was not a properly made tiger, it was a very poorly carved tiger. That is, the carpenter, the person who had made it, the craftsman who had made it, it was not a perfect piece of wooden tiger. So it had a rough surface and many slivers. There were tiny slivers of wood on the surface which stood like quills, and while the king was playing with his son with this wooden tiger, one of the slivers pricked into his right hand, and the king took it out with his left hand and took it very normally, and he continued to play with his son. But the next day the infection developed. It became a very serious wound, and the infection spread all over, and the doctors had to be called. 3 famous surgeons were called from Madras, who said that an operation was to be performed. They performed the operation and they came out and said that the operation was successful, but the king was dead. So this was the biggest irony, that the king died because of this toy tiger, because of this wooden tiger. So in the end we can say that the biggest irony in the story is that a king who was so brave, who could kill 99 live tigers, was killed just because of a wooden tiger. He died only because a wooden tiger caused an infection, and he died because of that. So finally the king had to die. He could not prove the prediction of the astrologers wrong. The astrologers' prediction proved to be right. The cause of the king's death was a tiger, although it was a wooden tiger.